statement which describes about what the software is going to do. What the software is going to do. What for the software is going to be implemented. I want you to note down. So SRS describes about official statement of what the system developers are going to implement. What system developers, what the system developers should implement. Please always correlate with your writing an algorithm. You are writing an algorithm. So the algorithm is written to say that your program is supposed to do so and so thing. Similarly, this SRS is an official statement or the document which describes about what the system developers should implement. That will be written or that will be documented. SRS is a complete description. It is a complete description of the behavior of the system. Behavior of the system which will be implemented. SRS is an official statement about what the system developers should implement. SRS is a complete description about the behavior of the system to be implemented. SRS should include both the definition of users requirement and specification of systems requirement. SRS should include both a definition of user requirements and the specification of the system requirements. SRS describes what the software will do. It describes what the software will do. So these four are the main things about SRS. So SRS is about, say even we are going for a mail, first step we will find SRS. We will submit the SRS. So in the SRS kind of abstract will be there. What are all the things we are going to show at the time of inspection? What are all the documents we are going to produce? What exactly is the outcome-based education? What we have incorporated to achieve outcome-based education? All those things are included in the SRS of MBA. Similarly, when we are developing any software project, SRS will be created as a first step. So what the SRS will be having, it will deal about what the system developer should implement. Okay, so the details of what they are going to do will be included. It will give the complete description of the behavior of the system. This kind of input only you can give, so that you can expect this kind of output. Okay, so if my software will be able to take only the numerical input, you can only give numerical input. If you are giving some other kind of input, my software will not function further. Like the behavior of the system, and we will give the definition of the user's requirement. This is what is expected by the user, and this is what is going to be given by the system. It is like, the user is expecting automation of so and so, or it is like the user is requiring a three-wheeler. Okay, so the manufacturer is trying to design a three-wheeler, but it doesn't look like a three-wheeler, right? From this, what I can say, user's requirement is on one side, the specification of the system requirement on the other, with the availability of the system, with the availability of the given specification, I could only produce so and so thing. That also will be there. What is what the system will be able to produce. You are asked to score 100 out of 100, but from your skill point of view, I can analyze, you can give only this much mark. Okay, so we are expecting a 100% result. So when somebody is asking me whether this class will be able to get 100% result, my assessment based on your skill level, I may say this is what the percentage of output we can get from this particular class. Clear? Learn that for any software project, what is the user requirement, what is the system requirement will be included. Then what the software will do, what the software will not do. Even that will be included in the SRS. What is the purpose of SRS? Why do we need this SRS? Purpose of SRS. Purpose of SRS. Number one, SRS precisely define the software product that will be built. So it will define what the software product. So it precisely define the software product that will be built. It will not talk about exactly the software. It will only say this kind of software will be built. Okay, so an agency or a manufacturer is giving C++ package can be built. Okay, Python software can be built. Only that much details it can give. So it precisely defines the software product that will be built. Second, it is used to know. It is used to know all the requirements. Know all the requirements. It is purely of theory. You need to make a note. All the requirements for the software development. All the requirements for software development. All the requirements for software development and then it will be able to help for the software development or designing the software. Since SRS will be used to know all the requirements for the software development, we will be able to procure the requirements so that it will be used to design a software. Okay, so the first point is that what kind of software product will be built. Second thing is SRS is used to know all the requirements for the software development so that we will procure the requirements. It will be used to build or design the software. Number 3, the purpose of it, it provides feedback to the customer. It provides feedback to the customer. It provides feedback to the customer. What kind of feedback it will be able to provide? It could be of communication between the, it could be of communication between the analyst, communication between customer, analyst, customer, analyst, system developer, and the maintenance team, etc. This is one kind of feedback. So it will be able to provide feedback to the customer. How the customer will be getting the feedback? It will establish a communication between customer and other end. Maybe customer to the analyst, customer to the system developer, customer to the education. Get up. Put up the video. Get out. Contract between purchaser and supplier. Contract between the purchaser and supplier. Foundation for design phase. It will give foundation for design phase. Foundation for design phase. Support system testing activities. Support system testing activities. It will come in this series if you note it properly. Support system testing activities. Support project management. Support project management and control. Support project management and control. Controlling the evolution of the system. Controlling evolution of system. To come back to this again. So this is used to get a feedback or provide feedback to the user. There are various ways to providing feedback to the user or the customer. So it is used to establish a communication between customer and the other stakeholders of so and so project. It is used to give a feedback between the purchaser and the supplier. Okay, because they are the two parties of any project, user and the manufacturer, user and from the developer end. Then it will give a foundation for a design phase because SRS will be having all the requirements of the user. So requirements are the first step to go for designing the project. So it will be providing the foundation for the design phase. Then it supports system testing activities. You have the details of your project in SRS so that these details will be used for the testing phase of your project, because once you design your project, the next will be testing. So what are all the testings will be done, and for a particular module which testing is suitable, those things will be there in the SRS so that it can be a support for this team. Then support project management and control for managing the project, which means the adequacy, that is you have produced and the user is giving a feedback of modifying something, slight upgradation needs to be done. So that will be the part of the project management team. Okay, so managing the project and controlling the project is also done with the support of SRS. Then controlling and evolution of the system, that various versions. So you have manufactured 1.1 version 1.1. So after a certain period of time, based on the requirement and the feedbacks from the user, you are going to do some modification on it, for which you are naming it as 1.2, which will not affect the previous versions. So the evolution will be monitored and maintained with the support of SRS. So these are all the purpose of SRS, why the SRS is required. So we have seen what is SRS and what are the purpose of the SRS. Okay, so please remember SRS is very important topic. So this SRS can be viewed by two major communities. So one could be the customer, other could be the manager. In other words, I can say SRS will be referred by two major community of the project. Okay, so user, I can say user of a SRS. Users of SRS. Users who will be using SRS. Mainly, one could be customer. I can say system customer. So what are all the things they will be project of the software. So in SRS, what are all the things will be referred by system customer, just customer or user, and what are all the things referred by the manager. Okay, so here to support the system customer, SRS will be having specification, or just note down, specify the requirements, specify the requirements and read them to check that they meet their requirement. Customers specify changes to the requirements. So SRS includes the user requirements, right? That is given in the definition itself. SRS users or includes the requirements of the user. So they are specifying the requirements initially, and you are implementing the project. Okay. Later on, this SRS will be used to check whether the requirement is met or not. Requirement is met or not. If it is met, that's fine. If not, it has to be reworked. You need to rework on it. Then it is met. Later, after certain period of time, users, he has a different opinion in it. He wants some more changes. Something needs to be added. Even that will be added in the SRS. Okay. So this is about the system user. So he has no role in developing the software, or managing the software is the role of the manager. You get my point? So user will be giving the requirement how my software to be. This is what is my expectation. So that will be recorded initially, and you do implement it. After the implementation, the requirements will be compared with the final one. Okay. So the requirements are met or not. If not, or if they want to make any correction, or user they themselves want to do some changes on their requirements, that is possible. Okay. So on the other module, we have manager. So here, use the requirements. Take down here. Use the requirements. Use the requirements. Use the requirements to plan for the system development. To plan for the system development process. System development process. Try to understand. System customer is one of the users of SRS. Manager is another users of SRS. Okay, one user is customer, other user is manager. What the customer will do, he will specify his requirements. Okay, so SRS will record their requirements. Then we will move on to modeling and designing and all those things. After that, if any changes is required from the customer end, he will be able to update it. Or if the requirement of the customer is not met by my output, by my design, that also can be updated. But these things will be checked by system customer. Yes, because he is the one who has given the requirement. You are ordering for something. Let us assume it is some jewel. Okay, or some product you are ordering. When you are seeing the product, you are not satisfied with it. You say that I said in different way, but it is conveyed like this. So you have ordered in this way. I am not happy with this. Okay, if you make slight change on this, it will be fine. Or I don't want this at all because my requirement is not satisfied or met. For that, the SRS will be referred by English. Purma. Types of the requirements. This is again very important in SRS. Types of the requirements. It is of two types. There are two types of requirements. One is functional requirements and other one is non-functional requirements. Functional requirements and non-functional requirements. So functional requirements normally describes about input and outputs of the design software. Outputs of the software, which means it is completely relying on what input should be given, what output should be produced. A functional requirement describes about the input and output of the design software. Then what about non-functional requirement? So this describes about how the software, how the system or software should work, how the software or the system should work under certain circumstances. How the software or the system should work. Yes? I cannot do anything now. Keep it outside separately. Okay. So in non-functional requirement, it describes about how the system should work under certain circumstances. It is, Shani, I told you to keep it separately, not to give. It is more specific than the functional requirements. So normally this is, put off the video. Okay, so this is taking more important roles on various aspects, performance, how my software should work with respect to the performance, with respect to interface, with respect to design, and even some other factors. So in this other, again we are having various things. There may be a security, safety, reusability, environment, and training. So very important topic in this. Types of requirement, it is of two types, functional and non-functional. Functional deals about the input and output of the software or the system. Non-functional deals about how my software should work or how my system should work. So how will we again refine or explain in various ways with respect to the performance, with respect to the interface what we use, with respect to the design is done on the software, with respect to some other features of the software, like how my software is secure, whether my software provides more safety, and whether my software can be reusable, like I am going for the next version, whether I will be able to use the software with some more modification or I have to totally throw it away and rebuild it. Okay, it supports for reusability and is it environmental friendly, that is it is designed only for Windows, it can be used only by Linux operating system, is it so, or it is environment friendly. And then training, whether when I do some modification on the software, the training is required or completely they have to learn, or the existing people may be given short-term training and they will be able to adopt the technology. So all those things will be dealt by non-functional requirement. Okay, that's why I mentioned this is only input and output of the system, whereas this one how means it has got a lot of meaning. That's why it is more specific than the functional one. So how includes performance, interface, design, and again safety, security, reusability, environment, and training. Clear? So this is about the requirements of the SRS. Now, so what is included in the SRS? We have said what will be there in SRS, what is the purpose, what is the requirement, who are all the users we discuss now. What will not be included in SRS, what is not available in the SRS, what cannot be given in the SRS. So when we are asking you to write the program for the practical examination, you are writing an algorithm program. Okay, so altogether you will be given only 3 hours time. If you are taking 2 to 2.5 hours for write-up itself, they will be giving continuously the instruction. It's not a theory examination, it's a practical, which means practical must be given more focus, not the write-up. Okay, even if you miss few segment, few modules over there, that can be included at the time of implementing your program, because practical, though you write neatly some 10 pages in the paper, and if you don't touch the system, you are not executing your program, will not be given mark for the lab practical examination. Clear? So if it is theory, theoretical things should be written. If it is practical, practically you have to show the output. There the writer will be given only less mark. You get my point? So in SRS, what should be included, what you can expect from the SRS, what you cannot expect, what should not be given in the SRS. When you are writing a paper for the publication, what should be written in that, what should not be written, like just writing a formula, giving various examples, and that is not allowed in the paper. There the formula is required, but you don't have to show with the various examples, because in that format it is not allowed. Okay, when you are writing content for the patent, there is a format. Only what is required in the format alone should be written. There you cannot write a lot of stories, and you cannot include references. You cannot give a index, content page. It all cannot be given in the patent when you are writing content for the patent. You get my point? So here in SRS, what can be given, what not to be given, what is included we have discussed, what should not be given we are going to discuss now. What is not included in SRS, what is not in SRS, this is also important, you must know. Number 1, project requirements. See, we had already discussed user requirement. User requirement is a product, is a project. But he will not say what software you should use, what hardware you should use, what is the task you are going to schedule, how many modules you are going to divide, how many people you are going to involve. Those description, user is not required. Correct? User only needs a product. He is least bothered about how you are going to implement it. So in SRS, project requirement will not be included. What exactly the project requirement? It may be a cost of the project. It may be a delivery schedule. Delivery schedules, because it's like you are referring the previous record. You are referring the project report. When you refer the project report, in that it will not be mentioning what exactly it will give you the format. You can just follow that, and you can write your own project report. Okay? So similarly here, SRS is common for a particular software. So their cost will not be included. The project cost, when it will be delivered, the schedule of each module, project. That's not need to be included in SRS. Similarly, design solutions. Design solutions will not be included in SRS. Design solutions like how I am going to partition my project. Whether my modules, each module will be of equal size or it will be implemented by equal number of people. Those details and all are not required in SRS. Design solutions. And finally, product assurance plan. Product assurance plan is not included in SRS, which means the quality assurance procedure. What kind of measure I use to assure the quality? Whether I am going to use ISO standard or I am going to use some IEEE standard or I am going to use Sigma, what kind of quality assurance policy I am going to use to measure the quality of my product will not be included in SRS. And the configuration management, what kind of configuration I am going to use while implementing the project, that also need not to be included in SRS. And verification and validation procedure. It will give a data to the testing people, but it will not include what kind of testing I am going to include, how I am going to validate the project, or the software will not be included. So three things will not be included in SRS: project requirement, design solution, and product assurance plan. Last, little lengthy, the structure of the requirement document. Structure of the requirement. Anything when we are documenting something, as in the first step itself I gave, SRS is a official statement and it is documented with various informations. SRS is documented with various informations. How are we going to document it? What exactly the structure of the document? Structure of the requirement document. We must follow some structure. Okay? So I don't think I will give the full structure, just I will give you guideline itself. So normally we follow some standard, like for quality and all ISO we follow. So for this SRS, IEEE standard will be followed. IEEE standard will be followed. So preferable is IEEE. There are various versions in it, but IEEE AISI 830 1998. In short, we can say IEEE 1998 is followed for the SRS standard. The standard which is provided by the organization is IEEE. Normally for various security NIST. Okay, ISO for various academic and various organizations quality. Like that, for SRS, the standard, the approved standard is IEEE, especially 1998. Okay, this point also you need to remember. So let us see the IEEE standard SRS template or the structure, how the template will look like. So first, introduction. It is a structure of SRS which is being provided by IEEE. Okay, so number one, introduction, which will be having some subpoints as 1.1 purpose. This is the template of SRS. Each SRS should look like this only. It will be prepared in this fashion. Number one, introduction. In the introduction, what are all the things we will include? 1.1 purpose, 1.2 scope, 1.3 definition, acronym. You can write acronyms and abbreviations, or prepared. And scope, what is the application of that particular SRS? What is the benefit, advantages and disadvantages? What are all the various definitions used by the SRS and the short form and its abbreviations of? I would have used various things inside, right? So SRS is a SRS is a short form, right? So like that I may use various abbreviations and acronyms inside my SRS document. So those things also should be specified in 1.3. And then what are all the various references in so and so organization this particular thing is followed. Okay, and it has got a 4-star or 5-star thing. So I am referring to that for my SRS. Like that, what are all the references I am using it over here. And finally, the overview of the entire thing. It's like you write abstract for your paper, and at the end you are writing the conclusion. The same way, overview. Number 2 will be overall description. Overall description. So overall description of the SRS, where you have again lot of subpoints. 2.1 will be product perspective. 2.1 will be product perspective. Under which again 2.1.1 you have system interfaces. This is purely of product perspective, where 2.1.1 will be system interface, 2.1.2 will be user interface, 2.1.3 hardware interface, 2.1.2 you write down. 2.1.1 system interface, 2.1.2 user interface, 2.1.3 hardware interface, 2.1.4 software interface, 2.1.5 communication interface, 2.1.6 memory constraints. I want Ramesh to repeat once I complete this. 2.1.7 operations. 2.1.8 site adoption requirements. 2.1.6 site adoption requirements. Site adoption requirements. So all comes under 2.1, that is the product perspective. With respect to product, these are all the things we specify in SRS. Similarly, the next will be 2.2 product function. Product function. What are all the functions my product will be able to do? 2.3 user characteristics. User characteristics, which means same project could be used by the faculty, same product could be used by the students, and the same product could be used by the non-technical people too. Okay, what are all the characteristics of the user? So this particular user will be having only this much of skill, so he will be able to use only a limited functions, whereas the other kind of users may use all the functionalities of the product. Like what exactly the characteristics of the user. 2.4 constraints. Constraints. What are all the constraints of constraints of the product? Like under, during winter I cannot use this product. During summer I cannot use this product. So in this particular operating system I cannot use this. This particular software will not be supported. And on this particular mobile phone I cannot use this app. Like that, what are all the constraints of that product? 2.5 assumptions and dependencies. Assumptions and dependencies. Assumptions and dependencies. So all comes under 2. 2 is over PDF. Okay, so to open, to execute something, I need to have other software. Like, is there any dependency of my particular product? So those things included in point number 2 and 3 will be of specific requirement. Specific requirements. Specific requirements. Where 3.1 is external interface requirements. 3.1 will be external interface requirements. 3.2 will be specific requirement. Within that again a specification. Okay. 3.2 is specific requirement. 3.3 is performance requirement. 3.3 is performance requirement. 3.4 is design constraint. Design constraint. That is overall about the product, and this is maybe a particular module alone. Okay. So design constraint. 3.5 software system attributes. Software system attributes. Under 3.5 you have some sub points. 3.5 is about software system attributes. Software system attributes. 3.5.1 reliability. Reliability. 3.5.2 availability, because all these things comes under security. 3.5.1 reliability. 3.5.2 availability. 3.5.3 security. 3.5.4 maintainability. 3.5.4 maintainability. 4. 3.6 other requirements. Other requirements. Other requirements, if anything extra specific to that particular product, if it is there, can be included. If not, it can be left. 4. Supporting information. 4 is supporting information. Supporting information. 4.1 table of contents. Table of contents. Table of contents and index. Table of contents and index. 4.2 appendixes. 4.2 appendixes. 4.4 correct. 4.2. 4.1 is table of contents and index. 4.2 is appendixes. So there is one more very small topic is left.